What is going on guys, MJ2005 Gundam here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the real grade Gundam Epyon from Gundam Wing. Built by Tres Kustranada based on the data of the Tall Gaze and the Operation Meteor Gundams, it embodies his philosophy of chivalrous close combat and is displayed to be a formidable foe in the hands of Miliardo Peacecraft with the use of the Epyon system. Inside the box of this real grade kit, you'll find yourself with 12 runners, a large wire, and a sizable decal sheet. Being a kit of a fairly neglected design and an original mold, the build that resulted is a unique one to experience. However, the far more elaborate visuals and internal structure that facilitate the wealth of moving panels, coupled with the heavy use of undergating, small parts, and the susceptibility to nut marks of the red, burgundy, and navy blue pieces, the build that resulted feels fairly advanced and inevitably spans a lengthy amount of time, on top of the fact that a lot of rotating joints have locks you need to mind the direction of attachment for. Basically, the real grade Epyon is a kit aimed towards the experienced builders in the scene due to the build difficulty, and it isn't a kit I would recommend to beginners. Fully assembled, and the real grade Epyon sports a scaly and menacing design. So much for chivalry, I guess. The aesthetics of the kit are faithful to the original TV design, with the vast amounts of added surface and venting detail to really make the scaly aesthetic pop, further enhanced by the sharpening of edges and elongations of fins and spikes like on the legs, and the shape of the wings taken from the Endless Waltz version. Another thing that adds to the aesthetics is the part separation, as details from the two-tone red and navy blue trim cast with different finishes, to the yellow on the feet and cockpit hatch, and the only other pre-molded parts, that is the rim around the eyes, are all plastic. Furthermore, thanks to the sensor parts on the head sticking through front to back, the light that enters it is sufficient in making the eyes and rear head sensor pop out, rendering even the stickers optional if you don't need their metallic shine. As for further touch-ups, the real grade Epyon doesn't demand much other than some light panel lining on the white pieces and the wings, since most of the panel lining is achieved with the gaps between armor panels. Overall, it's a kit that I would happily display as it is if I were looking for a more anime aesthetic, but one issue will be hard to ignore: its size. Standing at 13.3 centimeters tall, it is grossly oversized to be considered 1 to 1/44th scale. Unless height is also one part that real grade redesigns change, I can see this discrepancy to be extremely annoying to some. As for articulation, the head is on the simple ball and neck joints that can move freely without any obstruction. The shoulders can pivot vertically, extend to pivot laterally, and rotate all the way, while the shoulder armor is independent, with separable front and back panels, allowing for the arm to raise up very far with the shoulder and clavicle joints. There is a bicep and forearm swivel, double jointed elbows that benefit from the moving shoulder armor, movable top and bottom claws, and a hinged, ball jointed wrist. The torso can extend and provide wide crunches, while there is a full waist rotation. Front and side skirts are ball jointed, back skirts are hinged for the transformation, and the front crotch piece can unlock the leg drop also for the transformation, which also benefits the front kicks hindered by the knee spike and the full side splits. There's a thigh swivel, a joint behind the thigh, and a triple jointed knee for the leg bend and armor separation, and the spike on the calf can move to fill in the gap. The ankle armor is ball jointed, while the feet can swivel and pivot front to back, and the toes and heels can pivot independently, while the former can also fold down. Finally, the backpack thrusters can move, while the wings can pivot and rotate at the base, open up on a double joint, and deploy feathers with another hinge in the wing. Articulation on the RG Epyon is nowhere as crazy as the RG God Gundam, but it's still no slouch. Solidity is also quite good, with the only tricky parts to handle being the spikes all over and the feathers of the wings, although it is quite hard to balance on the ground, so I would highly recommend investing in an action base. For accessories, you are firstly given a selection of a pair of fists, holding hands, and the left side open palm for hand options. As for weapons, those begin with the beam sword stored in the cable reel, which opens up a retrieval of the handle, and a set of adapters connected with a wire is plugged back in its place, before connecting into the sword after securely sliding it into the hand, and activating with the use of the included effect parts for vigorous melee posing, completely unhindered by the wire used for the power cord. On the other hand, there's the Epyon shield, which mounts onto the forearm hardpoints for defensive use. Alternatively, the spike at the tip can be removed, and the storage peg can be stored inside the shield after removing the connector to accommodate the heat rod, which sports very fine color separation due to it being pre-molded. It can bend and rotate along every segment for very flexible movements, so the only limitation to posing with it is your imagination. Meanwhile, a stand adapter that plugs into the backpack is included for aerial displays, and while it does feature an opening cockpit hatch, it does not have a figure of Miliardo Peacecraft, like all new real grades since the Zeong. Lastly, the Epyon features a simple transformation, achieved by removing the manipulators, folding the Epyon claws out, folding up the arms, opening the back skirts, unlocking the front crotch section and folding the leg assembly over its back, flipping the toes down, extending the wings, flipping the shield connector upside down before plugging it between its legs, and propping it up with another provided adapter. Additionally, the head fins can pop up, the mouths of the dragon heads can open up for extra edginess, and the necks provide an extension for the heads to look around slightly. From a glance, the mobile armored twin-headed dragon mode actually looks quite good for an astonishingly easy transformation process. The extra scaly and spiky aesthetic, and the extended feathers if you fancy, adding menace to the design. I also love how they took the opening mouths of the EW version, actually gave them internal detail, and redesigned the heads to have eyes instead of a visor, making them more convincing to look at. Yeah right, as much as a Gundam doing Olympic grade gymnastics with a shield plug up its back alley can look convincing as a two-headed dragon, as it still looks absolutely laughable from any other angle except from the top. Ever since I knew of the Gundam Epyon, particularly from some of the OG Gunpla reviewers reviewing the Master Grade, I really wanted a 1/144th scale version of it just to fit in with my existing collection. While size is one of the existing flaws of the RG for some, the fiddly nature of posing it due to the spikes being another, the real grade Gundam Epyon is a kit that I would highly recommend. It is a slight blend of the TV and EW designs that suits the Epyon's menacing aesthetic, and it's a kit that looks phenomenal straight out of the box thanks to the many separate plastic pieces and wealth of surface detail, requiring little else from the modeler unless you want to apply the decals. It's also entirely solid with no loose parts throughout filming, and the transformation, while utterly ridiculous, is still undeniably a smooth experience. If I had to pick one more hold besides the size and handling, it would be the build difficulty. Because of the small parts and color palette, it will require some experience going into it. Apart from those issues though, the real grade Epyon is exactly what I would have asked for 9 years ago. And that's all for me. Thank you for watching, drop a like and comment if you did enjoy the video, subscribe for more content like this, and feel free to follow me on social media with the links down below. That said, take it easy, stay safe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out guys, bye bye.